Hello guys, it's Shadi from Peak Transformation. Welcome back. I welcome my previous students, current students, new potential students, and everyone who's watching. Also, I wanted to make this video mostly for my students, but also for anyone who's interested in today's topic, which is gonna be about depression, loss of meaning, and nihilism, anxiety triggered due to excess sexual energy that is not properly manipulated, managed, and transmuted in time. And it's a very deep topic, so hopefully I can make this video not too long, not too short, but let's see what happens. So I'm gonna start talking, let's see what happens, let's see how it goes. So depression, anxiety, and any kind of psychological problem that you're going through that is quite intense, nihilism, so any kind of psychological problem can be triggered by different reasons. It can have many causes. You can have more than one cause at play at a time. But yeah, let me tell you, like, the major ones. The major ones would be the first one is imbalance in the body chemistry. Okay, you could have, I don't know, kind of like a zinc deficiency or iron deficiency or whatever it is. And I do recommend that you get like a blood test just to check your levels, check the vitamins at least every 6 months or so, once a year. Yeah, that would be the first one, but I wouldn't go for that first if I'm depressed or anxious. I would recommend to try, let's say, some relaxation techniques, try some psychotherapy. And if that doesn't work for, like, if it's not progressing, that's when you know that there's a problem in the body, actually. If you're doing some therapy work, yoga, and you still feel depressed, and because all these techniques should work for most people, like 90% of people, okay? And if there's a problem in the body, then you have to address that, okay? And yeah, because we're always talking about psychological issues here on my Facebook page and on YouTube. Well, from whatever you're watching this video, if you're watching from YouTube or Facebook, doesn't matter. But yeah, we're always talking about psychological issues. But I have recently also became aware that a problem in the body, a problem in your diet, can also affect your mental state. And even if you're doing so many different types of practices, yes, it can compensate. It can it can compensate for that. It can do the opposite effect, basically. Yeah, I forgot the verb. So yeah, I can compensate for the negative effects of deficiency, vitamin deficiencies, for example, in the body, but not, it's not gonna be as efficient because you're always having this kind of like inflammation or problem that's happening in the body that you need to fix, and all your psychotherapeutic efforts, they're not gonna have that much effect because you have a problem in the body. So yeah, if you're depressed, if you're anxious for a long period of time, it's been a while now, and working out doesn't seem to help as much. It's helping, but you just, yeah, you're not even at the stable state. You still feel so much intense negativity within you, even after working out, even after. So yeah, let me tell you some other causes that you should be aware of, okay? So that's the first one, which is a physical problem, okay? You gotta get your blood work, get your vitamins checked, get some other stuff checked. I don't know, check for diabetes, there are some tests for that also. So check for all these different autoimmune issues. They could also trigger they could cause these problems, okay? The second one, so I leave the last one, which is the topic of this video, which is depression or psychological issues due to sexual energy excess and accumulation. And I'll tell you exactly what to do about that, okay? Very simple tips on how to transmute that excess sexual energy so that you're back to normal. And just one quick note about that, because the reason why I'm making the topic of this video on the last cause, which is the excess sexual energy, is because I've recently discovered that it can be one of the most prevalent, one of the most relevant causes for most people, even more relevant than body chemistry issue, okay? So if sexual energy is not properly managed, oh man, yeah, especially if you're doing all these sexual transmutation practices, if you're doing yoga, if you're trying to do semen retention or nofap, or you're having sex without ejaculation, like myself, you're receiving more and more life within you, okay? You're receiving more and more energy every single month, and you're not aware of that. And you have to handle that. You have to transmute that. You have to breathe it upwards with certain breathing techniques. And I'll be sharing some of those at the end of the video. Now, yeah, so the second cause, so before we get to that, the second cause is you have some things to sit down and think about, but you've been distracting yourself a lot. You don't want to think about it because some part of you thinks that it's too much headaches, but in reality it's not. Just sit down, think those things through. And yeah, my tongue is, yeah. Think it through and solve those problems, okay? I think a lot myself, and I can be talking a lot, especially when I'm coaching. So I'm very talkative person, and I have overthinking issues that I handled, hopefully, with all these practices I'm doing. But you have to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, am I worried about some things that might happen in the future that might go wrong, may or may not go wrong, and try to note down your plan A, B, C, D, okay? Have all these plans, and at the end you have to also, yeah, in your financial life, dating life, whatever, family problems you have. So you sit down and you're like, okay, I might lose this person in the future because I could see that our relationship now is a bit rocky. Maybe they change or I change. What am I gonna do about that? Bam, 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 bam. You just note down. You note down what you need to do. So yeah, you do that in every single aspect of your life. Okay. For people who are depressed, anxious. And I'm not talking like a fleeting emotion. This video is not about like a 20-second depression or 20, because you could be depressed for 20 seconds. You could have some suicidal thoughts for 2 seconds. It's fine. It can happen like to everyone once in a while. But what I'm talking about is you've been depressed for a couple months or weeks, okay? Minimum like 2 weeks. So yeah, do that. That's the second cause. The first cause is the body. The second cause is negative expectations about the future. And I'd say more so unconscious negative expectations about the future. And if you look back at the previous days in your life, the past week, for example, you will notice that you've been running around a lot. You cannot stay still. You're always trying to distract yourself. You're meeting friends. You're jumping from one video to another, from one article to another, whatever. You're just doing things all the time, and you haven't just sat down with yourself. Like, And you will feel a lot of resistance just even thinking about that. But I can assure you that it's very simple. So you sit down with yourself, let all these emotions come up. Some people might break down and start crying. It's better to do this than to get cancer, okay? Because, yeah, you can read about the emotional causes of cancer, okay? And one of the causes is accumulated, prolonged accumulation of stress, basically. So yeah, you could find these books on Amazon, you could just check. Don't take my word for it. But yeah, it's better to just sit down and cry it out than just get cancer in like 10 years of suppressing all this stuff. So just sit down and do it. Okay, very easy psychotherapeutic technique. Sit down, chill with yourself, sit down, let everything come up. If you don't feel like crying, whatever, just think things through. Worry, allow yourself to worry, and then take a pen and paper and write down everything that you're worried about that may or may not happen in the future, and write down, okay, I can do this if this happens, and I can do that if that happens. But at the end, if you have some overthinking problems like myself, again, I got them down now. I'm not like, I used to have some kind of OCD type patterns where I think so many things through. I'd be thinking like for 7 hours straight about the same thing that I probably already solved like 1,000 times inside my head. So that's how my anxiety comes up, you know, and it still comes up that way sometimes, but I know when it does come up and I know exactly what to do about it. And yeah, I got it down, so it's not a problem for me, but I'm just describing so many people have the same problem, this overthinking, OCD type stuff, 21st century type of problem. So that's what you do. And what else? So yeah, that's the second cause, right? So sit down with yourself, allow yourself to worry. If you have some negative emotions, allow them to come up, cry it out. You might be scared of losing somebody in the future, and then you sit down and think about it, and then you start crying. Cool, just cry it out. And you will notice that you are not as stressed after crying about it, after releasing that emotion, or after you might feel like releasing some anger. Okay, just punch a pillow or something. I don't know. Yeah. And then you have to note down the alternatives, but at the end of noting down those alternatives, you have to, because some people solve stuff inside their head like myself, and they might have the same problem, which is like they start thinking about the same thing again. What you need to do there is you have to have the ability to be like, okay, I have a plan A, B, C, D, it's enough. When the situation comes up, I will handle it then. And then now I decide to just forget about it completely. And your decision has to be, as soon as a thought comes up, the worry comes up again of the issue that you mentally resolved, that you already resolved mentally. When the worry does come up again, because that's anxiety, right? That's the anxiety. That's where it's. That's where it resides. Okay. Especially if you gave yourself a solution already to that problem mentally. You solved it mentally at the very least. So you sit down with yourself and then you tell yourself, okay, as soon as this thought comes up, I'm gonna let go of it. I'm not gonna follow this train of thought and try to solve or come up with another solution. No. I'm just gonna let go of it instantly, as soon as it comes up. And this is a technique, it requires a lot of awareness, so you have to be doing some kind of yoga or meditative practice, meditation, at least every single day, so that you have the proper awareness. Because these practices, shamanic healing and meditations and all this stuff that I coach, all this stuff that you could also find online, breathing techniques, meditation, working out, I wouldn't say, I don't think it's going to increase that much awareness. Depends on how you're doing it. Depends on the type of workout. But meditation I recommend highly to increase awareness. If awareness is up every single day doing these practices, then you will be able to notice the pattern. And if awareness is up, consciousness is increased as well. If consciousness is up, then consciousness will be able to dissolve this thought very, very quickly. Awareness is down, consciousness down, that means the thought will be able to crystallize in a more physical form, let's say, in the energy system. It'll become much more dense, much more real, and you will get lost in it, okay? So many details, I know. If you have more questions, just comment down. I'll do another video or whatever. I will answer your questions. Yeah. So yeah, just not to get distracted here. So meditation every single day, any type of meditation, okay? Of course, there are some specific types that accelerate progress, which is what I teach. And there are some things that you can find online for free that you could do to increase awareness, okay? So yeah, you can find something online. Just Google any type of guided meditation, YouTube, whatever, okay? And you just do something for 10 minutes every single day. And that'll increase your awareness. And don't worry about thinking too much when you sit down to meditate. Yeah, for the first 1 year of me starting meditation, I was thinking a lot, and the mind will get used to that, and at some point it'll stop thinking, probably altogether, or to some extent at least. So yeah, meditation increases awareness, which helps consciousness to expand. Awareness is more like a field, right? It's more like the eyes of consciousness. If the eyes of consciousness are wide open, and this is what meditation does, helps you to become more aware of every single passing thought, so that you're noticing anything that's happening within you. Nothing is skipping your awareness. And then, so eyes of consciousness are the awareness, basically. And if the eyes are open, then consciousness expands, and think of consciousness as a healing force, right? You already have it. The only thing that you need to do is notice something, and then it just disappears. If consciousness is constricted, is not as powerful, you know? It's constricted, it's restricted, and it's small. So your field of consciousness can be here, like within the limits of the body, or it could be touching the whole planet. Like the state I'm living in right now, I feel like I'm everywhere all the time, because I did all this higher states of consciousness healing processes on myself and stuff like that. For my students as well, they feel the same. So all the stuff that I'm talking about is not a big problem for them, and for me as well. So yeah, that's the second thing to do, right? Just meditate. Very simple. And the rest will follow, and your consciousness will expand, and you will experience what I'm talking about, which is you just notice a thought, you notice the worry that you already resolved. Some worries, they're just pointless. You're worried about when planet Earth is going to explode or some shit like that. So that's stupid. You just have to let go of that instantly. But if you're worried about some upcoming problem, like financial issues, then you need to sit down with yourself and solve it, right? You have to have some plans, okay? And once you do, then if it does come up again, once you do solve it and it's still coming up, then you apply what I'm telling you here. And meditation is like a preventive medicine, okay? You have to do it every single day, so that when you need that awareness, when you need that consciousness, you notice the worry and you have the intention to release it instantly. And you're like, I don't need this thought. It goes away, because intention is also a psychological, energetic force that you have, much like consciousness. So consciousness moves with intention, okay? If you have the intention to do something, that's where your consciousness flows. But you can also point your intention, you can use your intention not just to move your hands or body, but you could also move things with your mind, in terms of moving emotions through the body and out, in and out the body, and moving thoughts through. helping thoughts to pass through you without bothering you as much. So this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, third thing, the third cause of depression and psychological problems. Of course, there are many other causes, of course, but I'm trying to be super concise here. It's already 20 minutes. Let's talk about the real thing here. Sexual energy. Okay, sexual energy. Now, sexual energy, if there is excess sexual energy, let's say you did not do any, you did not engage in any sexual activity, be it solo or with a partner, for a long time, let's say for 3 weeks to a month, and you're trying to do semen retention, which is also something that I teach, and you're trying to do these sexual transmutation practices, but you're probably watching the wrong videos or you're not doing things properly. But anyways, accumulated sexual energy, or horniness can be increased to an extreme level if you're getting triggered by certain things, even by certain foods and people and places and lifestyles, to the point where it does and it can and it will cause very strong and chronic depression and anxiety. Okay, and in this case, I don't want to make this video very long. Again, if you have any questions, you comment down, okay, and I will answer you. Okay, so if you have this problem and you notice that you're extremely quote unquote horny, or because sometimes the sexual energy doesn't manifest as horniness. It manifests as horniness or desire for sex and sexual activity if it's if the sexual energy is accumulated in the lower chakras. If it's accumulated in the higher chakras, you get headaches. You don't get them. You get the opposite, which is what the NoFap community or the semen retention community calls a flatline. Flatline doesn't exist. It's just sexual energy that's accumulated upwards, and you have to move it. You have to do certain practices to move the energy so that it's equally dispersed and it's equally accumulated in every single center and throughout the body, every single chakra and energetic center, the nadis, okay, energetic joints, I call them. So all this work I do with my students, okay, if you're interested in accelerating the process and getting techniques that will help you to just take care of all this stuff in like a few seconds, a few minutes, then this is my work and this is my passion. Basically, this is what I do for my clients. You could also check out some testimonials on this page, okay? If you're watching on YouTube, you will find a section for the testimonials as well. But yeah, let me share something for free. So what to do about extreme horniness, because it can cause you to, most people just jump on a pornography website and then they just release the energy, and that's gonna reinforce depression and anxiety, social anxiety, of course, and you lose interest in this in real sexuality, which is not good. So you want to be able to maintain the energy and release it when the time is right, or use it for, which is also something I teach. We use with my students. We use the sexual energy to make money, okay, and we could maintain this. They could maintain the sexual energy to a point where it doesn't bother them, and then if you wanna convert it into a desire for women, or if you're a woman watching, you want to convert it to desire for a partner, for a man, then you can manipulate the energy. And you can make it go anywhere, whichever direction you want, be it for wealth creation or... But the problem is that most people don't know how how to manage this sexual energy, and it's very important to manage because it's what's because you may want to, like, for example, approach a woman that you like at a bar or, I don't know, in the street or whatever, but you're very scared and you don't know why. Or as a woman, you're trying to look for a partner and you're also shy or scared, or you don't want to go out, and problem there is that you have desire, but it's more like sexual energy is accumulated in the mind. You have a intention to find a partner, or you have an intention to make money. Let's say you have an intention to find a partner, but the sexual energy is accumulated downwards, and you don't have, no, you have the intention mentally, and the sexual energy is accumulated, let's say, upwards in the mind, so that when you do go out, you feel anxious because you're not connected to the body. Why? Because your life/sexual energy is accumulated in the mind. So you have the intention to do something, but the body doesn't react because there is no life energy activating the body. Very deep stuff, I know, but if sometimes you feel like the horniness, let's say, and we're still talking dating here because it's the easiest example for me to give. And this is how and where most people feel sexual energy. They don't really notice it when they're working on their business or they're working 9 to 5 or whatever, but it's also goes into play like that. Sometimes you want to work, but then the sexual energy is accumulated not upwards, but this time downwards, okay, in the lower chakras, and maybe in the base chakra. If it's accumulated in the base chakra, you will have anxiety about almost everything, okay? And accumulation is not a problem. Accumulation in one single center in excess, in one single chakra in excess, that's what causes the problems. Now, how to fix this problem? Let me share something let me give you a freebie here. I cannot go deep into the techniques that I actually teach in the programs because that's basically what I put food on the table with, basically. That's what I coach, right? But I can give you something that actually works, which is to find some breathing techniques, some yogic breathing techniques online, okay? Yoga breathing techniques, you have to go on YouTube, okay? There's like hundreds, probably even thousands breathing techniques, okay? But find something that works, find something that's yoga based, okay? Yoga based. So you have to do specific yoga postures, okay? If you have a series of yoga postures that you do on a daily basis, that's pretty good. That's gonna help the energy to... The goal is to keep the sexual energy balanced and equally accumulated all throughout the chakras, okay? Not just in one single chakra, this excess accumulation, that's when it causes the problems. So, breathing techniques, go Google pranayama. It means breathing technique in India, in Hindu. So you have to do breathing techniques, okay? So that's what you do. And the yoga postures, okay? I don't do yoga postures myself, but I recommend them for some students, not for everybody. But this is what you need to do. So I could share a specific one, but anything that you find is gonna help you out to some extent, okay? Anything that is coming from the yogic tradition is gonna work for transmuting sexual energy. Now, some breathing techniques are specialized for sexual energy transmutation, basically. They're just for sexual energy transmutation, and they help you to transmute very quickly, which is what I teach. But most breathing techniques in yoga, they help to also transmute sexual energy. So what I do recommend is to Google some of those and start practicing at least 2 or 3 different types of breathing techniques every single day, twice a day, okay? and that's gonna take care of the excess accumulation of sexual energy, and you will notice improvement in your depression and anxiety symptoms very, very quickly. Because if sexual energy is accumulated here in the third eye, you will get loss of meaning. Life will be pointless. You feel nihilistic. You feel like killing yourself. You'll get suicidal thoughts. This is like extreme type of depression. You're like apathetic, you know. There's no meaning in anything. And so many people experience that in their semen retention, no-fap journey. Even people who are not interested in semen retention or no-fap, okay, they do experience this if they don't masturbate for like a couple days or to some extent. But people who seek out sexual energy practices like myself, brahmacharya, semen retention, no-fap, of course, they're going to experience it more. People call it the flat line. And you can actually fix that in like a few minutes with the right techniques, basically. And it's not normal. People think it's normal, but it's not. It's not normal to... If you're not feeling happy, like, I would say... well, not 24/7, but at least 20 hours out of 7 days. 20 hours a day out of every single day. On 7 days, let's say. So yeah, if you're not feeling happy most of the time, then there's a problem in the energy system. And even if it's a physical problem, it's a body-based problem, if you handle the chakras, like I told you, and you take care of the breath, and you take care of the awareness part of it, everything will go, it'll even affect the chemistry. Even if you have some zinc deficiency or whatever, it'll balance itself out. You need to do those tests, though. You need to check every 6 months, especially if you change diet, if you became vegetarian or something. Yeah, so that can cause some deficiencies. It can cause depression and other stuff, so just be careful. Not for everyone, but for some people it can cause, yeah. If you're used to eating meat and then you stop. So yeah, so... why is the breath important? Why do breathing techniques in general, yoga breathing techniques, help to transmute sexual energy? Why? From my experiments and my findings and my research, I realized that the breath is, think of it as it's a mechanical, physical process. So you're breathing, you're using the lungs, and okay, it's not like thinking. You don't see thoughts. Thoughts are purely, they are much more dense than, let's say, pure energy or pure consciousness. They're a little bit more physical, but not physical. They're just a little bit more dense in terms of their energetic material, let's say, what they're made up of. They're a little bit more dense than pure consciousness, which is nothingness, basically. The breath is physical, okay? It's a physical process. I'd say about 50 to 60%. But it's the key or the doorway to the energetic system, okay? It's more like, if you start performing a specific yoga breathing techniques or shamanic meditative / breathing technique, you are touching, depending on the technique you're doing, you are activating specific chakras or specific energetic joints, and you are balancing different types of hormones. That's on the physical level, but on the spiritual level, you're touching on many aspects of your energetic system, okay? So you can notice it also. I mean, this is why if you go to a therapist, like an actual psychologist or therapist, they will recommend breathing techniques, okay, for most of their clients. And it does work, like, it does work, and like most psychotherapies that I performed on people and I perform on myself, they do require some type of breathing or awareness of breath. The breath is very important and it does work and it does help, okay? It's the doorway, is the key, or the connection, is the bridge to the energy system, the breath, if you take care of the breath. And if you're doing breathing practices every single day, you make sure that you don't become unconscious of your breathing pattern. So many people don't take it for granted, okay? You are unconscious of how you breathe most of the time. And even a constriction in the breath for a fraction of a second will trigger some kind of anxiety the next day at 5 or 10 p.m. or whatever, whenever. Constriction in the breath. But if you're aware of the breath almost all the time, then you will not experience any of these symptoms, okay? Maybe a fleeting negative emotion here and there, but you will not get this prolonged depressions and anxieties because the energy system is always balanced, okay? So the breath is extremely important. And I know, yeah, you don't take advice about breathing techniques seriously from all these videos or other people or other coaches you're watching because they don't actually explain why should you do it. It's like so simple. And they're giving all this stupid advice. Okay, just do this breathing technique, you're gonna feel good. Yes, you do feel good, but then you forget to do it every single day and then you get back to your depression and all this shitty emotions. Is because they don't explain it, okay? So I gave you an explanation here, it's very important. If you're doing these breathing techniques every single day, you can take a pause, of course, like a week or so. But if you're doing every single day, meditation, breathing techniques, yoga, shamanic healing, therapy, something like that, but the breathing especially, you will notice that your levels of how many times you experience anxiety, how much or how long your depressions last will be reduced drastically, okay? And the number of times you experience these negative emotions will be reduced dramatically, like 80 to 90% per month, okay? And you assess it. You can assess, okay? You can check. Pen and paper, okay. Last month, how many times did I feel this is that type of emotion? And for how long did it last? And then you check after a month of practicing what I told you about. Okay? Alright, thanks so much for watching. Yeah, it's like 40 minutes, right? Thank you for sticking through the video all the way through. If you stuck all the way through, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my advice. So, yeah, my name is 𝗙cie and I am your coach. And I'm an energy healer, I'm a psychology graduate, I do therapy as well, and I do more like energetic, I take care of the energetic dynamics of everything, and in terms of depression, anxiety, body-based issues. So yeah, I had clients where I helped them out, I helped them lose weight just by doing some type of therapies. I helped them to clear anxiety, depression, manage sexual energy, any type of problems, low self-esteem. If you have some dating issues as well, I could help you out with that, okay? So I want to say hi again and bye to my current, previous, and upcoming students and our current viewers of this video. So thanks so much for watching and hopefully see you in the next one. If you need more assistance, if you would like to accelerate the process of healing and managing sexual energy, if you have, or any type of problem you have, just text me directly on my business Facebook profile page. Or if you're watching from YouTube, you find in the description below a link to my calendar where you could book a free consultation call where we talk about your problem, see how I could help you out, okay? Now, thanks so much for watching, and yeah, don't forget to like the video. See you in the next one. Bye.